Welcome back. My name is Ben Stone. You're watching CanalGrass.com. I am on the ice today chasing after Minnesota State fish. I'm chasing after walleyes, arguably one of the most popular game fish that people chase after on the ice. Today, I'm going to be discussing why I'm choosing the spot that I'm choosing, what I look for in a walleye spot. I'm also going to be hopefully catching a few walleyes tonight, so I will see you in the video. My name is Ben Stone. I'm a full-time fishing content creator for Canal Gratis, and ever since I was a kid, this has been my dream job. I'm very lucky to have the opportunity to do this as a full-time job, and that is why I'm extremely excited about today's video. If you think this lifestyle is going to suit you well, if you've always wanted a full-time job in the fishing industry, in particular in the content creation field, then I have some pretty exciting news for you because Canal Gratis is hiring yet again. We are hiring another full-time content creator in the United States of America. Now there's a little bit of criteria to be met here. We want somebody in the Florida and or Texas region and somebody between 18 and 25 years old. Ideally, you have a driver's license as well, but most importantly, we're looking for somebody who has a burning passion for fishing, somebody who wants to take Canal Gratis to the next level and create amazing fishing content. If you think this is something that interests you, then be sure to check out the description box below and check out the link to apply and or get more information. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comment box down below. With all of that out of the way, I wish you all the best of luck and I hope to see you soon. So the last ice fishing video that you watched from me, I did a very simple approach to ice fishing, which was I had two lines out. In Minnesota, I'm allowed to fish two lines. I had an active jigging rod that I was using with my electronics, and I had that dead stick that had a live minnow on it. Now today when I'm walleye fishing, I'm gonna run the exact same thing, like literally to a T, the exact same setup, the same two rods. I have not changed these one bit since the last time I was out ice fishing. They are tangled together, but running that small frostbite dinner belt jigging spoon and then a larger tungsten jig with a live minnow that I have over here. I'm choosing to be out during the sunset period, so in about an hour and a half, the sun is gonna set. So that is like the window where these fish have been biting. I'm set up right on a break line off the sunken island. And why I'm set up on this break line on this sunken island is the fact that once the sun starts to get lower in the trees, these fish are gonna move out from the main lake basin behind me, and they're going to push up onto the shallow water. So I am right on kind of the midway point between deep and shallow water. I'm at 16 to 18 feet of water, and basically I just have my line set so when these fish push up, they're going to swim right through me. I'm very particular about why I'm set up on this break line. I'm going to play a waiting game. It's probably not going to be hot and heavy action, but I'm expecting to hopefully have a couple of chances at catching some walleyes tonight. I am going to stay put, and I'm just going to trust that those fish are going to make that natural push shallow. So in the last video, I had a number of different camera angles. One of those camera angles was on my electronics, and I discussed how that works and why it's effective for ice fishing. Now today I'm running a totally different electronic. I'm running a Humminbird Helix 8, and just about every open water electronic is going to have some sort of ice fishing component to it. Now in my case, I have a Humminbird Helix here, just bought the ice fishing transducer for it, and now I can use it just like I would a flasher. Now, this gives you a little bit more versatility with the settings. You can have a classic flasher screen, you can have GPS on it, you can have your 2D sonar, but it basically functions the exact same. Now, what you're seeing on the screen right now is the flasher cam itself, and unlike a flasher, this gives you that wide picture. It shows you your history, which can be effective for gauging if a fish is slowly rising up to your bait. You're gonna notice that in the history. But how you read it is basically simple. You're just paying attention to the A-scope here. So this is all stuff that's being read in real time. And this is just a history. So picture it like this is just getting printed on to your history. So when I'm fishing, I'm just gonna be paying attention to this bar. When my jig is down here, it'll come up nice and easy. Now I haven't adjusted my settings at all, so this is all pretty cluttered. We're gonna clean that up though, and then I'm gonna show you exactly how I'm gonna set my dead stick rig here tonight. So now on screen, if you look at this, I've cleaned my screen up. I just had to turn it from max mode to clear mode, which is just the way it reads. A lot less clutter. It was probably reading just like particles and stuff in the water, but now my screen is completely clear. You can see right here, I'm in 17 feet of water. Gives you some other information. That's not really too important. But again, what I'm going to be paying attention to is this bar because that is what's freshly reading everything. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to have a dead stick set, and this has a slip bobber on it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to figure out where I want my slip set to have this set line. So I'm going to want my jig a few feet off the surface. I'm going to let my line out, and eventually on the graph you're going to see my jig start to appear. That blue line is my jig, so I'm going to have to obviously tweak my settings a little bit more. And there's actually a fish down there that just came in on the bottom. So that's why having history is great. You can see that thin yellow line it was reading, and then right here, that yellow line gets a little bit bigger. And now you can see on that A-scope window, there's actually slight separation from the bottom. So that's probably a perch down there right now. My jig just stopped here, and that's where my slip is at. So if I let my slip go, that line just went basically to the bottom. So I want that a little bit higher. So I'm just gonna grab my slip here and push it down. And you can see my bobber is set now. I'm pretty happy with where that placement is now. So now I know my line is set and I can retrieve my jig, put a minnow on it, drop it down, and just leave it for the night. And that's what's great about having a dead stick and just taking advantage of the 2 rods you can have per person, is because now that's a totally new opportunity in the water. I'm gonna have a jig and spoon with the minnow head, and I'm gonna have a full live minnow down there. So whether the fish are wanting something slow and subtle or more movement-based approach, I'm gonna have both of those options ready tonight. So if you look at the size of that mark, compared to what I've been seeing, that is so much more dense, and it's staying right near the bottom. You can see I pulled him off a little bit. Now he's going back down. Yeah, I'm gonna 100% guess that was a walleye. A little discouraging that he just shot right back down to the bottom, but I guess it is a sign of life. I guess we just gotta wait on a more active fish to actually roll through the area now. Oh, the dead stick is down. There we go. That feels decent. Yes! There we go. Walleye up on the ice. Not a giant. Absolutely engulfed the tungsten jig. Again, one of the most important things to have ice fishing is the proper hook remover tools. That tungsten jig is gonzo. So right there, that's what I got him on. That's like a small shiner, and that's not a big fish by any means, but that's my first walleye of the night. Good sign. I was just talking about how I saw one on the flasher screen, and then I looked over and saw the dead stick was down while I was turning off and restarting all my cameras. So that's awesome. Gonna get this little guy back in the lake. That just works out so perfectly. I discussed it right at the start of the video, but utilizing the 2 lines per person is such an important factor to consider when walleye fishing. I had what I knew was a walleye on that screen, and it was just not interested in that active jig and spoon. And the fact that I had this dead stick down there, right after I marked that fish, I was stopping all my cameras to organize all my footage. I look over, the bobber was gone. That fish couldn't resist just taking that minnow just sitting right there. So worked out perfectly. We've got our first walleye of the night. I'm hoping we can get a couple more opportunities tonight. There's a fish. That's 100% a walleye. I mean, look at how big that signal is. He's just outside of the beam here, so he's obviously showing slight interest in it because he came in. Now he's directly in signal here because he's red. My heater's in the middle of not wanting to work right now, but now he's really in that signal. Oh, that's a good mark. Oh my god. Come on, here he comes. Oh, come on. Oh, that's big. No! No! Oh my god, that was so big! I couldn't even move it! Oh my god, I couldn't even move it. Oh my god, I couldn't even move it. Oh my god. Look at the size of that mark! I'm sure you can tell it's getting darker, so lighting is going to be pretty lackluster. But I hurt so bad right now. I am at a loss for words. When I saw that mark down there, I figured, oh, it's just a walleye. He's gonna slowly come in and check out my jig and spoon. And then when the mark got in signal, I thought it was in signal, but I think what happened is that fish was so big that it being outside of the cone read as a red mark. And when that fish got in signal, that thing was like 4 marks stacked on top of each other. I brought it up to my spoon. I was just pounding it on the spot, and my rod just dead stopped bent. I set the hook on it. Of course, I'm using a freaking light action rod. So that is a total bummer. I just know it was big and that I couldn't move it, and I guess that's what I get for walleye fishing with a light action rod. Oh my god, really? No way. That's what I get for Not paying attention right there. Oh my God. Let that be a lesson to you folks watching. Don't text and fish. Don't be like me. Oh. What was that? Wow. That was a big fish that just came in right there. Wow. Just out of nowhere, a little weak signal kind of appeared. I figured it was like some bubbles rising up to the surface or something, and it ended up developing into a pretty substantially sized mark. It's tough to say what kind of fish that could have been. Of course, it could have been a walleye that just swam through. It could have been a pike. Could have been a carp. But for now, it's going to be mystery. And look at that. I have another mark down there on the bottom right now. Just hugging tight. And he's gone now. He just sank right back down to the bottom. Right there, though, you can see that separation. So there was a fish down there. I got it. It's not very big. Look at that. Okay, well, it is a fish. I had to drop it down onto the bottom to catch that thing. For my European viewers, you might be happy to see this little guy. That is a yellow perch. Very similar looking to the perch you guys have over there. But those guys do not get big like your guys' perch. And I've actually caught a couple of redfin perch myself. And I gotta say, while they are similar, they are so different as far as the way you fish them, the size, all of that stuff. Well, unfortunately, the night has continued to be slower and slower, so I'm going to call it here. But for what it's worth, I had a very entertaining night out here. I caught the walleye, which was the target species. I had a few other chances at walleyes, and I knew they were down there. I just could have been paying more attention, I think. And I also hooked into something that I'll never know what that was. I just will know that it was a big fish. And while that's tough to stomach, it is more than enough motivation to get me back out here to get fishing again. And that's why I love it so much. I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I'll see you next week.